I came from Valley Town for a brand new world to see. Don't know what's ahead, but it won't get the best of me. There's so much to learn and battles to be won. I've advanced so far, but still there's always more to come. Take a step and I'm on my way. Gonna start all over again. I wanna be a hero, hero. Pokemon advance. I'm on my way. I wanna be a hero, hero. Give it just one chance. And the future will decide. And there's a hero buried deep inside. I wanna be a hero. Pokemon. Yo, what's up, guys? The Insane Game Freak here. Finally, finally. I'm sorry this took so long, but here we are. We're at the Hoenn Region Review. Yay! Now, as you guys already know, this is my favorite region, so here are the reasons behind why I love this region so much. But before we get into my reasons, we're going to have our special guest, Jake Bomb45, tell you his reasons, like I've been doing with all the region reviews. There's actually another person I wanted to put on here, and the reasoning why that person isn't on here is purely because in his video, as a response to the region reviews, uh, I I've been fucking around with it, and when I copied it over, and then also when I did get it right and put it on YouTube for two things: one, the music kind of drowns them out, and two, the copyright issues with the Pokemon tracks in the background kind of fucked me over. But his his link to his video will be, somewhere on the screen, if not on the description below. But anyways, I'm gonna let Jake Bomb45 tell you his reasons for liking Hoenn, and then I'll get back and explain my whole spiel. All right, see you in a bit.
What's up, guys? JakeMon45 here to do a video response to the Game Manics video about which is your favorite Pokemon anime region. For me, I have to say that it is Hoenn. Basically, the reason why I like Hoenn was the characters, the new characters that were introduced. May and Max, they were really well done characters, and and also just because May did not know how to she didn't know what to choose with a gym battle or contest, and she really didn't know how to battle. And then you have Max, who he's too young to be a Pokemon trainer. He's basically on the adventure, and basically he takes all in. And it's a cool thing because Max takes all the experience from watching Ash and May, and then a little bit of Brock, basically battling, so that later on he'll be a Pokemon trainer. So I thought that was pretty cool, like almost like an apprentice to Ash, like you said. Um, the gym bat. Oh wait, the Pokemon first. I'm just gonna get this out the way. The starters in the Hoenn region, I'd say were one of the best. I mean, compared like second to the original, of course, but Torchic, Mudkip, and Trico, they were really good starters. I really enjoyed those starters because it was first introduced to the first firefighting type, which was, Torchic was the Combuskin, and then you get the Blaziken, which honestly I can say Blaziken's one of my favorite Pokemon all the time. That's actually, and I was so glad that May had received the Torchic because I was watching the contest battles and I was just, basically most likely watching with Combuskin and later on Blaziken. Just because it worked really well for the fire and fighting type the first time, and you get a result like Blaziken. I mean, and then you got like Swampert, Sceptile, which are really cool as well. Um, and yeah, I really enjoyed. And the other Pokemon in the region are very interesting and different in their own way. And regarding in the show, when it goes to the gym battles, most of them were really good. And it's funny that you mentioned the good one when he fought the twins with the Soul Rock and the Lunar Rock, and then the Swallow did that whole, and Pikachu did the Thunder Armor thing. But it does make sense a little bit that Swallow can take that, because I remember in the beginning of the episode to when it was a Tailo and Pikachu was fighting Tailo, it took so many Thunderbolts just to take him down, and even afterwards he was still like okay, so it was really resilient. And then Swallow, actually, I enjoyed Swallow on Ash's team because it was just so tough. It would get attacked multiple times, but yet it would still get back up and um, keep fighting. So it really was Swallow was a cool addition to Ash's team, especially with the flying types. Um, yeah, the gym battles. Yeah, I like the gym battles. And what else? And oh yeah, when it gets later on to the Pokemon League, yeah, the Pokemon League. And the one thing though, this um anime region missed was the rival. Because I know that at first it was like that Harley guy and then a little bit with Tyson, but it wasn't really that main rival that stuck with him through the beginning of the series, and that would always knock heads with Ash. And this is where the part in Sinnoh that I like the best, and some people actually don't like this character in Sinnoh, but it's Paul. If they had someone like that in Paul in the Hoenn region, I would say Hoenn would be one of the best regions. Just because, see, a lot of people, say Paul's the dude's bad character, which most is true. But the way that he battles, it's more like intellectual. He thinks about his moves. That's the type of character he is. He acts like he's actually one of does things that we, people who play like Pokemon, like Wi-Fi, whatnot, would do. And it's cool to see Ash do things like off the dome, but most of the times Ash just, just basically randomly does like these tricks and whatnot. But Paul, I like Paul just because his strategic skills when it came to Pokemon battling, and every time they would fight Ash, Ash would fight Paul. That was one of the best fights in Sinnoh. But Tyson was the guy that Ash fought before he lost with the Meowth. That was a really good battle. And yeah, it was a really good battle, especially with the Meowth and Pikachu, because really we don't see Meowth fight that much, and then we see this Meowth is basically owning. It's pretty cool to watch. Um, oh yes, the introduction with the Pokemon contest in the Hoenn region and the double battles. Double battles was an interesting concept to add, and also when it came down to the Pokemon contests, they were really good, most of them. And then we saw what's the girl's name? Team Rocket. Why can't I remember? Jessie. Yes, how can I not remember that? She was basically wanting to be in Pokemon contest, and she was actually struggling. And then we see a whole bunch of development, like you said, of her, taking lots of losses, but then gaining that experience to later on be a formidable opponent in Pokemon contests. And May, in her battles that she's been in, and that whole thing with Drew, that was actually pretty good. A cool double battle with Drew and against May when they got into the near finals. And yeah, it's basically it. That I enjoyed from the Hoenn region. Excuse me, I have allergies, so the throat and nose, sinuses. Um, Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Why I enjoyed the Hoenn region. If they only had that like rival with Ash in the beginning of the series, it would make Hoenn perfect. But the gym battles and the gym leaders were actually really cool. And then when it gets to Battle Frontier, that really just topped off everything with the adventure of those four, Ash, Brock, May, Max. It really topped it off because we got to see the old school Pokemon, Snorlax, Squirtle, who else? Jar Jar, you just meet with all these classics that Ash started with, and also in Johto, and then you just see them, with multiple different combinations. It just was good to see them, and it chopped off the episode really well. And also like the Brandon fights, because the Brandon fights, it also make Ash grew as a character throughout as the fights with Brandon from the beginning to like the last fight when he just basically used the classic team with Charizard, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Pikachu. And yeah, that's pretty much it from this response. I really enjoyed Hoenn Reason, and yeah. So what do you guys think of it? Do you guys like the Hoenn Reason? Why not? And I'm done. See you. Peace. Yeah.
Okay, so there's, another fan's input, so it's not just mine and it's not just a bias there. So I'm going to go in there and explain my reasons for liking the series. Now, it's going to be a little bit more repetitive for this first portion because there's a lot of things that Jay Baum said that I truly agree with. For one, I love the fact that Ash was kind of like a sensei throughout this region, considering the May and Max situation, considering May, new trainer, didn't know what the fuck she was doing, and Max was the younger brother who wanted to get into Pokemon, was just too young. And the first portion with May anyway, he felt like he was teaching May, and then the other portion with Max, he felt like he was being the older brother to Max, kind of showing him, it was weird. It was kind of cool, but it was really weird because we weren't used to seeing that with Pokemon. And the reason why I like this region the most is because this region had the biggest balls, period, to do what it did. The introduction of contest battles. Which was actually not a bad concept at all, but it was a ballsy one because considering half of Hoenn is comprised of contest-related stuff, but at least it gave the female character something to do. It wasn't like with Misty, who was just wandering around. And it was really fucking annoying that she was just wandering around. The same problem with Dawn and currently the problem with Iris is that they're just wandering around. I don't mind characters, hanging out, but you had Brock doing the wandering around and shit with him. At least Brock was cooking and shit. But as he is doing here also. Because for all you Brock fans, yay. But this series gets a lot of hate because this is the first region where they replaced Misty. Even though you do see her in this region for a two-parter, I believe, episode about Togepi in the Mirage world, which was actually a pretty enjoyable special. And it was fun just to see those two characters interact with each other. And then just to see Misty again, period, was fun. But, the contest battles were enjoyable. You got to see Pokemon actually shown off in beautiful ways that had been hinted about since fucking the first and second regions. So I was actually enjoying the contest battles. The fact, and plus that, there were still battles in those, so it wasn't like you were just watching, oh, I can shoot String Shot. Oh, I can use Whirlwind. Oh, I can shoot a Water Pulse. It was like, it was actually being taken slightly seriously, and you got to see different combinations. Even though obviously these aren't things you were... Honestly, I think the contests in the anime were done better than they are in the game. Considering in the game, all you're doing is literally choosing attacks. At least in the anime, you got to fight afterwards, so it wasn't just beauty, but it was beauty and bronze, which I feel like contest battles were captured better in the anime, and that's just my opinion. The other thing is, for anyone who wants to know, T-Rocket actually got some mild development here. It's mainly Jessie, though. Okay, for anyone who doesn't know, this is the region where Arbok and Weezing are, sent away, I guess is the best way to put it. And you are now left with Sir Viper, and now you are reintroduced to new characters, Sir Viper and Katnia. Katnia! Oh, I love Katnia. Katnia was slightly annoying. I like Katnia. And those are your replacements. And I believe Jessie still has Wobbuffet. Does she? I don't even remember. Does she have Wobbuffet in this region? I think she still has Wobbuffet. So she only got rid of Arbok and Jen lost Weezing, and that's all he had. So essentially, what you were left with was essentially a Katnia. And they actually catch them. It isn't like the other. Well, no, he kind of catches them. They kind of catch them, but yeah, we have Survivor and Katnia. I'm kind of getting off topic here. But anyways, the reason why I say this is the most development for Jessie because Jessie decides to start entering contest battles, and Jessie actually gets fairly good at some of these contest battles. And there's actually a fairly good amount of development with her as a character, and it was actually pretty enjoyable for the most part. I still don't like Jessie, and I like how she. And I also find it funny that it took her a while before she found her groove. The reason why I say this is because she goes through different costumes and outfits before deciding on one of the most contradictory outfits I thought was crazy. She settles on her looking like a weird, like a nerd-ish girl. Like, The giant glasses and the ponytails and the fucking orange dress, which really clashed with what the type of character she had been known for in the series. I mean, honestly, Jessie's known for being the quote-unquote sexy girl of the series. So it was like, wow, I didn't expect you to go that route. But that was my main thing, is that the most enjoyable portions of the series is that you had development almost on all sides at this point. You had Ash actually being a teacher kind of character this time. And, you had these two characters, May and Max, that were, growing, and we actually enjoy. I actually came to love May. Literally is my favorite female. It's like May, to me, it's like May, Iris and Misty are tied, and Dawn is dead last because I fucking hate Dawn. Also, to get into the gym battles were actually pretty enjoyable. It's and surprisingly, the beginning gym battles were actually fairly memorable. Well, not the first one, not Roxanne. Roxanne was okay, but one of my favorites is the Brawley fight. The Brawley fight was fucking awesome. Uh, Watson was alright. Flannery was alright. And then you got to fucking Norman and the Petalburg Gym. Also love the fact that Ash did the same thing that we in the game did. Where, when you first walked out, the first gym you go to in the Hoenn region, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, is fucking Petalburg. So I was like, oh shit, Ash is going to fucking Petalburg. And also like the fact that May is actually a correlation with her in the game. They're both daughters of the gym leader, Norman. Yay, continuity. But anyways, that I like the fact that they still had game stuff correlate. And going back into the gym battles, Norman was actually a fucking boss, and you couldn't beat him at the beginning. But I enjoyed the Brawley fight, the Norman fight, the Tia and Liz fight. I enjoyed, even though there was a lot of bullshit behind that fight. Because, as it was said, the Tia and Liz fight is another one of those breaking video game logic in the anime bullshit. Because the whole Thunder armor, because technically that shouldn't have worked. Like, literally, that literally shouldn't have worked. I respect it because of the character development behind the Pokemon, which is another thing I'll get into in a second. But technically that shouldn't have worked, but it was still a cool fight. And the league matches were actually pretty enjoyable. I still think Johto had better league matches, but the league matches were enjoyable, at least. And the last positive thing, I believe, is the Pokemon themselves. This had so much better Pokemon than the first fucking region. I mean, than Johto. Johto had like the most dull and boring Pokemon. Whereas Ash has a really weird team here. I will say that. That's one of my main negatives with this, is that Ash has a really weird team. But it is a team with development and a team with character. Corphish was one lively ass water type, and I respected that motherfucker as a water type. Sceptile is a grass type. Fucking win. All three forms. The only thing about Sceptile I don't like is the fact that the way he evolves from Grovyle to Sceptile, and then his issue as Sceptile. The stupid love thing with Tropius. That was a little much to me. To me, that was a little much. I forget what it actually was. It was like, I don't remember the third Pokemon, because it was like, he and this other Pokemon were fighting for the, it was weird. That was not the best evolution. That's all I got to say. You had Corphish, Sceptile. Torkoal was okay, but as his fire type, it seemed weird because he seemed such a contradiction. He seemed like it seems like they took the spirit of Cyndaquil and kind of moved it over, but made it a little weirder. And then you had his fucking Swallow, who was a fucking beast, because it was the one. To me, Swallow is still one of my favorites in terms of personality, because it was a Tailo who could take electric damage and rape shit. And then when it evolved, I was like, fuck yeah, Swallow, go in, son, go in. Yeah! Yeah! Like, I love the Swallow. And then, obviously Pikachu, and I believe this is the region where is this the region? I believe this is the region where he learns Volt Tackle. No. Is it? No, it's not. It's Sinnoh. He learns Volt Tackle in Sinnoh, my bad. No, I take it back. He learns it near the end of this region to next region, I believe. Also, I believe this is all. No, is this the region? I believe this is the region where we find out that Gary is a... No, it's near the end of this region we find out that Gary has become like a scientist and everything. But in terms of positives, I thought that was my favorite thing. Oh yeah, and Glalie. Almost forgot about Glalie. My bad. And that was actually pretty enjoyable. Oh, and technically, you can't just A-palm by the end of this too. So that's what his team was. You know, Sceptile, Corefish, Glalie, Torkoal, Swallow, and A-palm. Was that it? Oh yeah, and Pikachu, obviously. Obviously, you know, Pokemon got switched out. Well, that because he caught A-palm so late in the game. So yeah. But anyways, you know, that was cool. And the last thing we're going to, well, there's one more other positive. Battle Frontier, full of win, because it still gave us the classic feeling. We may have, even though they had Ash go, you know what? I'm gonna put all my old Pokemon with Professor Oak and go into this bitch fresh. We still got the classic fights with all our favorite classics. Everyone from the classic series that we wanted to fucking see fought, and it was fucking awesome. And no one could say shit. Also, there was implied love interest with Annabelle for whatever reason. Now, all the four gym. No, it was actually there was implied love interest with Brock and Ash, with Annabelle and what the fuck is that chick's name? The chick that's dressed like that has like a color palette as a viper had like a mild crush on Brock. And I actually enjoyed the fuck out of that, even though it never went anywhere. Oh yeah, and the Brandon fights. The fucking Brandon fights were fucking beasts, man. You couldn't say shit about those. What is it, Brendan? Yeah, the Brendan fights were fucking beasts. I was like fucking awesome. Uh, the only thing I'm a little depressed about is, as Jake Baum said, there isn't no rival in this one. I mean, we get the Tyson League fight and the Samurai dude, but that was about it. And you know, that wasn't as enjoyable as I wanted it to be. But all in all, that was still awesome. But here are my negatives. The negatives for Hoenn are very little to me. The first negative is the lack of the rival, which would have kind of helped, but considering we got instead of that we got a whole bunch of like, you know, Sensei Ash Sensei mode, Ash Sensei episodes. I didn't really mind it as much. The second thing is that his team was really fucking weird to me. Like, this was like the weirdest assortment of Pokemon he's had in a while. Just because it looked so weird. Like, if you were to line up his entire team, it looked really fucking weird to me. The third thing is it's during the Hoenn region that we get introduced to the annoying ass dub, which technically isn't a stab at the region itself, but it doesn't leave a good taste in this region's mouth because of it ending on a sour note with the dub switching during like near the ending of the last of the frontier brain fights. And then, you know, as you know, as you expect, it ends with Ash and them, you know, Ash getting offered the whole becoming a frontier brain, and obviously he turns it down. There's also a cool moment after all that's over where he fights Agatha, which I thought was awesome because we had never. I don't think we've seen League trainers except for like Koga, who doesn't count because he's a fucking gym leader, and Lance. So I thought it was cool. We finally got to see Agatha in the anime, who, and just like a league trainer, raped the shit out of Ash with a Gengar. And my friend Kenny was happy about that because he loves fucking Gengar. But in terms of faults, that was the thing. This was like the more enjoyable season for me because I didn't find barely anything wrong with it, and the music tracks were still epic as shit, just like they were from previous ones. I didn't have any issue with that. The lack of a rival sucked, but it wasn't a huge enough issue. Oh, there is one other thing that really pisses me off about this region. There's actually a lot of things about this region that carry over into Diamond and Pearl. And Diamond and Pearl does it so badly that it fucks it over. But this is the things I hate. This is when they also changed the bad guys from Team Rocket to Team Magma and Team Aqua. And this was not enjoyable to me. Like, I just found this really fucking boring. Like, I'm sorry, that was not interesting at all. I'm sorry, that wasn't interesting. The whole, what was it, like, the Red Orb got into Pikachu, and we had to deal with the stupid Groudon Kyogre shit. I was like, yeah, fuck it. Because it wasn't really that interesting. I mean, not to say the Team Rocket shit was necessarily interesting as fuck either, but I just didn't care. I literally just didn't care about Team Aqua or Team Magma because it was just boring. It was boring as fuck, and I kind of just wanted to get through it. I remember that. That was one of the other bigger annoyances about this region. The problem with this region, I think this region gets a lot of hate by proxy because of Dominant Pro and how much shit carried over, on top of the voice acting changing during this region. But but as a region in itself, like if you were watching the Japanese and that didn't, the audio shit didn't change and it was all about the story itself, I enjoyed this region the most. It was the funnest. I had the cool. It was such a breath of fresh air compared to Johto, because Johto kind of showed the repetitiveness about the series that was starting to happen, and I was so happy when we finally got into Hoenn, because Hoenn was so much of a breath of fresh air. There's also a few things that do carry over I will mention just as a warning for Sinnoh. The contest still trades over. Also, one last thing about the contest, I like the fact that May actually had rivals, and I think that's what it was. They tried to give May such a full ass development in this that they may have slacked on Ash, surprisingly, which was a little weird. But that may have been the problem with this region, is the fact that they kind of were unbalanced in the fact that they kind of focused their asses on they focused the shit out of May, and they didn't really focus as much on Ash. But at the same time, it wasn't to the point where it pissed me off to like, God damn it, I hate this. I actually didn't mind it focusing on May because it was so much better than, Misty the May in terms of development. May is so much fucking better, and I was so happy they did May like that. And that's really one of the more enjoyable things. So I wasn't really as pissed, but that technically does count as a flaw that they kind of shirked Ash to get more development around May, because May had rivals. May had multiple rivals, along with a whole bunch of development episodes on top of her team was crazy as fuck. And they even gave her a lot of classics, because if I remember right, May ended up having an Eevee, a Beautifly, a fucking Blaziken for all things. I was actually shocked. They gave her the strong ass fire type and only gave Ash the grass type. But Sceptile is a beast. I'll be honest with you. Hoenn is the only region where I've ever picked the grass type first because of how cool Trico looked. So I'll give you that. Also, the fact that just the starters in that region were awesome. They gave fucking Brock a Marsh Stomp, even though it didn't evolve into a Swampert, which I would have fucking loved. But Marsh Stomp I can live with. Giving him a Lotad and a Marsh Stomp a Ludicolo and a Marsh Stomp was weird because you gave him 2 water types. Like, why did he need 2 water types? It was just random as fuck. But whatever. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Every character had a starter, and it wasn't just Ash was overpowered. It allowed for Ash to have the other characters. It's just it didn't turn out as well. I actually like the fact that they switched away from that. But I'm trying to think if I've covered everything, and I believe I have. So I hope you've enjoyed this region review for Hoenn. Leave your thoughts about Hoenn and your thoughts about which is your favorite region. If you want to be featured in the funny thing is I haven't seen anyone say Diamond and Pearl is their favorite region. But I do know people do want, I do realize there are people who do like that. So for anyone who wants to mention that Diamond and Pearl is their favorite region and want to give a reason why, I suggest you leave a response to either this video, any of the region reviews, or just the Pokemon favorite anime regions, period. Because I technically don't have a space for that video yet. And I might need one because that video is going to be more of a bashing video than anything else. So, just throwing that out there. But, that's my favorite things about Hoenn. That's why I like Hoenn so much. That's why I think Hoenn was such a great damn area. And it was such a breath of fresh air from Johto. Because Johto to me is not that good. Johto is better than Kanto, but that's not saying a lot. That's just me. But anyways, I rambled on enough. So, got to catch them all. Life's a game played to win. And I'll catch you guys for the next region review. So, keep on traveling.